Hey good people, welcome back to Monique's Book List. So we are here to do a 15-minute wrap up, and I know you're like, girl, did you change your hair again? Yes, did. I was actually going to dye the tips. I was actually going to dye it red, like fire engine red. Unfortunately, I decided that, or I remembered that I set up a 2-week global summit for all of our subsidiaries that I would be heading up and talking at. So I thought it would be a little weird for me to have fiery red hair. So I decided to keep the ends kind of like a, what is it called? Strawberry blonde. But I don't really like them. I think I'm going to dye it back black. I think I let it sit too long to do the fiery red. So we're just going to go ahead and just dye it back. I think that would be the best idea. But not right now because it's Halloween month and your girl has sewing to do. You see me back there? I'm about to trick out that hat. I got tulle over here I'm making tulle skirts with. I got a corset I'm finishing. Halloween is a big time for us. So as much as I enjoy it, it's quite tiring. But how are you? You good? You good? All right. Now listen. Yesterday was a very emotional day for me. And for why? I don't know. I was just really emotional. I don't know why I was so emotional. But you don't need to know that. We're here to do a 15-minute wrap-up. Let's get to this 15-minute wrap-up. So let me get my timer ready. And I'm going to hit time. And here we go. So the first book, or the first two books we're going to talk about are from a series called the Fit series. It is a romance slash smut series, and I only read one of the actual books from the series, and then I read a companion novel to the series. They were okay. They were about the premise is that there's these guys who own a gym, and they find their significant others from the girls who come to the gym. One is clearly into heavier girls, and another one is just into dominating people. It wasn't really my bag. I really didn't enjoy the stories all that much. The companion story I read was it was for Christmas, and I just really didn't enjoy it because the main character, I can't remember her name. She was on my damn nerves. Like she just made the book lousy. That's how the character was written to make you, well, I don't know, to make maybe just for some people to, feel her or agree with her. But I wanted to fight her. I found her to be annoying, and she got on my damn nerves with all her, like, woe is me, I'm heavy kind of shit. It kind of bothered me. Anyway, and another thing that bothered me about her, she was so hung up on her ex. This perfectly wonderful gentleman who was in front of her, who was nice to her and liked her for exactly who she was, she couldn't get past it, and she couldn't get past her ex, and it just bothered me so much. I was like, oh my God, if she talks one more time about this dude, Walter. Anyway, so that was that's the first books I'm reviewing, or the first two books in this wrap up. And that series is by Rebecca Weatherspoon. Of course, we'll have pictures of the novels here. I think they're very short and quick reads. Let's go to the next one. The next one, I read Dumpling by Julie Murphy. Now, I know a lot of people don't like this novel because of the main character, Willa Dean Dixon. I would just like to make a case for Willa Dean, okay? So Willa Dean is heavy, or plus size. The person who she loved the most, spoiler alerts, I don't know if this is truly spoiler alerts, but I'll go ahead and hit spoiler alert here. The person she truly loved the most, who she believed loved her unconditionally, has passed. And she's a 16-year-old girl with a bunch of hormones. She was very self-centered and a bit of an asshole. So I understand why people didn't like her. But at the same time, that's how some 16-year-olds are. They are self-centered. Like, I had my niece, who is one of my favorite people in the world. I hated her when she was 16. I didn't want to be around her at all. I was just like, why is she so dramatic? And I'm pretty sure I was the same way at 16. I wasn't as self-absorbed and so unaware of myself as Willa Dean is. And neither was my niece. But I find it weird that people absolutely hate this book because they say Willa Dean is so obnoxious and just so, whatever. I don't know. I find that to be weird that everyone is so hung up on that when this book is written about a 16-year-old girl. There were some wonderful things in this book. The book is quite different than the movie. If you see the movie on Netflix, I enjoyed them both separately as they're separate things. And usually, like I try to tell myself is like, if I'm reading a novel that I've seen the movie for, or vice versa, if I'm reading or if I'm watching a movie that I read the novel first, I try to tell myself, like, it's like hearing a story from two different points of view. Like, the meat and potatoes are still there. It's going to be a good story or whatever, but there are going to be some difference. The main difference is they eliminated two characters from the book in the movie, which I felt like they should have been there. I really did like the one male character, but he wasn't in the movie. I felt like he should have been there. I really do, but I get it. So that was the next book I was wanted to talk about. Again, that's by Julie Murphy. Next book is Cabinet of Curiosities. Of course, this is by Preston and Lincoln. I've talked about this series. It is the detective or federal agent Pendergast series. It is the series I talked about reading in my October reads. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to put it somewhere here. It's going to be either here, or probably down low. I don't know. But it's going to be somewhere if you want to click on those October reads and know more about it. It's going to be here somewhere. Anyway, this particular book in this series is a standalone because, as I said in the other video, the great thing about this series, these two writers have put together, is that although this series is extremely, it's 17 books in the series, and you're probably thinking, I can't read no more about this damn man. How many 17? This dude yes, he goes on 17 adventures in this book, in this series. However, the books are sometimes grouped in their own types of series, but this particular book is its own standalone. And the premise of this book is that, I'll give you just some of it and not give too much away, is that, there is a building apartments are going up, and as they're trying to lay the foundation, they kind of come across something that looks like a grave. And so they have someone go into this hole and find out that there's 36 bodies in this hole. And what they determine is that there was a person who was killing people and burying these bodies. And if you don't know what the cabinets of curiosity are, they were kind of like sideshows that people could go and see, like an enlarged heart, or I don't know, just things that they thought were weird back in the day. So that's what this place was before they started building this apartments on it. However, Pendergast knows that there's a sinister story that goes along with those bodies. And you kind of go, I know everyone keeps telling me I say kind of go on a ride. But you do go on a ride with Pendergast as he figures out why these bodies are under there. And there's some new stuff starting to happen. Like, new people are starting to die in the same way that they determined that how these bodies were killed too. So, again, this is the fourth book in the series, or is this the third book in the series? This is the third book, sorry. This is the third book in the series. The first two books are Relic and Reliquy. I think you will like the whole series, but this particular book, I told my book club that I read this with, this happens to be my favorite book so far. However, I'm going to be real with you. I enjoyed it all the way up until the end. I thought the ending was kind of silly. I didn't quite understand, how they put together all this stuff. Like, it kind of felt like it was disheveled. However, I still say this. I'm still going to stand by this. I believe that they thought this was going to be their last book writing about Agent Pendergast. And then they got the advance for the fourth book. And then they were like, well, we got to, make sure we can keep going on. So, yeah, I think it's a good book. I think you will like it. I'm pretty sure you probably will feel the same way I do about the ending. Like, it's kind of weird how they got to that ending. Okay. Next book was a graphic novel. It was called Pumpkinheads, and it is by Rainbow Rowell. And very cute. I think it's like, I don't even know how many pages. It's not that long. I grabbed it from Kindle because Kindle had a sale on it. I grabbed it for 99 cents. I don't know how much it is now. But the whole novel happens at this like pumpkin farm between these two friends who are in their senior year of high school, and next year they're going to go off to college. And this is their last season working at this pumpkin farm, and it's their last Halloween as friends, or as working at this pumpkin farm. And the young guy, he is interested in this girl who works at the gift shop, and he's like, oh, he's so interested in her, and he's so like, he wants to get to meet her. And then his friend is like, well, just go meet go meet her. And she's like trying to get him to go meet her. So they go on like this crazy, like, I would say it's kind of like would it be a treasure hunt? Or just a hunt. I think it's like a hunt. They go on this hunt to find this girl, to find out where she is, because she's not working at the gift shop. She's actually working in a different place. And when they get there, like, oh, they actually sent her back to the gift shop. So they try to get back to the gift shop, and then something interrupts them. But the whole time when they're trying to find this girl, you kind of get the feeling that the female character in the story, I don't remember either one of their names, sorry. The female character in the story actually likes him, but he's so hung up on this other girl he can't see it. And she's dated everybody at this park, and I mean everybody, like girls, boys, mascots. She's dated them all. And though it's so cute because at the end you kind of he realizes, like, you know, his friend has been his friend all these years, and he just didn't see it. Like, he just never saw her that way. It was really cute. I liked it. And I would suggest it if you wanted to read it at Halloween time. I mean, like, you could definitely read it after Halloween. The next book on my list is The Rebel Heir. It is a duet in the Rush series. It's the first book in the Rush series. And this book is by Vi Keelan and Penelope Ward. Now, when I tell you that Vi Keelan and Penelope Ward is a duo, in my opinion, before this book, I would say can't do no wrong. They did a lot wrong with this book. I shouldn't say a lot wrong. They did wrong with this book. First of all, the fact that it was in two the fact that it was in two books, like it was a series, it was a duet. First of all, this is my personal opinion. I know there's people out there who love Megan March. I want to fight her most of the time. One, because her books are very male ego driven, but also because they're all romances that are a part of a series. It's fucking romance. They should all be standalone books. The only way you should be able to say it's a series is if it's a standalone within a series about friends. Like, a great example of this is Avery Flynn's Hardigan series. 3 books in a series, but 3 different stories. Why the hell are you carrying over a romance? Like, I mean, how much suspense can you build in a damn romance? So that's the biggest problem I have with this. Is The Rebel Heir is the first book in the series, and you meet a gentleman by the name of Rush, and you don't even need to know the girl's name. You don't even need to know that chick's name. But Rush owns a bar that she's working at because her friend couldn't make it that night. So she switched out. Like, first of all, where can the hell you do that at? How can my friend say, hey, I'm going to work for my friend at a job that I'm not employed at randomly? That's not even possible. So I was upset at that because it was just dumb. And then 2, just the story was just... Okay, so I'm going to get you some of the meat and potatoes. Girl goes to the Hamptons because she's a writer. She was trying to write a love story, and of course it's a traditional love story. Girl in trouble, boy have money, he fixed problem for her, and now they in love. Like, that's the kind of story she's trying to write. And then she meets Rush, and Rush is like, that's dumb. But he is boy who have money, girl who in trouble, and then they get together. And he fixes it with his money. The only twist of the story is that she finds out that at some point that she's pregnant. Yes, spoiler alert. I'm telling you all about this book because it's the stupid book. She finds out she's pregnant, and then she finds out who she's pregnant by. And that's the cliffhanger, is that you find out she's pregnant, and then they go to a party, he points out someone, and that person he hates with all his heart, and that's who she's pregnant by in the book for the first one. Suspense. Okay, first of all, that's the dumbest shit ever. I'm just going to say that out loud. That's the dumbest shit ever. Second of all, I don't really have a second. It was dumb. I don't really know why they had to do that. That was silly. Anyway, I skimmed to the end of the last book, so that's why I'm the second book. I'm not considering myself reading that second book because I just skimmed to the end to find out they got together and he was okay with who she was pregnant by because, of course, she got pregnant before she met Rush, and it doesn't really make any sense why he cares. Anyway, this is the only book I've ever read by Vi Keelan and Penelope Ward together that I didn't like. I'm not particularly fond of Penelope Ward's most of her stuff by herself. But yeah, this one I wasn't fond of, and I was like, ladies, you guys didn't get it right here. You didn't do it right. So see how much time I have left. I have 24 seconds. In those 24 seconds, I will tell you that I am doing another 15-minute wrap-up later this month on all the books that I've read since those, which should bring us up to now. And then I probably won't do another 15-minute wrap-up until the end of December, so I can gather more books to do a 15-minute wrap-up. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, the bell tolls. I'm done. And so, out of all those books, which ones would I suggest? I would definitely suggest Cabinets of Curiosity. I would suggest Dumplings, with the fact if you go into this YA, I don't even know if you call it romance. I guess you do because there are some romances in it. Go into this YA book with the thought of this is a 15-year-old girl dealing with 15-year-old girl shit. If you go into it with that, and the fact that the person she believes, in her head, you guys have, and that's the thing that I was just like, why can't anyone else see that this girl is 16, and in her head, the person who loved her unfucking conditionally just died. Y'all can't let her grieve? Okay, I'm getting too deep. So yes, I would suggest Dumpling, Cabinets of Curiosity, and Pumpkinheads. The other 3 books I wouldn't suggest because they're just dumb. They're not dumb. I take that back. I just didn't enjoy them. So with all that being said, until next time,